Atlanta, Georgia. I am a wife and a mom, a personal trainer, motivational speaker, spin instructor. I wear a lot of little hats, and you will see that woven all through my story. And I'm going to go ahead and just get going. Are y'all ready?
Yep.
All right. Well, we might as well just take off and have some fun. So hello, Low Carb USA. I am Jess. Okay, we're going to practice. And I want you to know 3 things today. And that is, I want you to know who I am, and I want you to know what I've done, and I want you to know what you need to know if you want to do similar things. I know the one thing you will say about me when we're done is, my gosh, that girl's been busy. And it's true. And you know, I don't even have a microphone in my hand. All right, I'm ready now. So I was here. I was here 3.5 years ago. I was over 230 pounds. I was working in a gym and I'd lost all my clients. I was in management and my manager had her eye on me, but she just couldn't figure out what to say. I'm a spin instructor who couldn't ride the bike anymore because I just hurt all over. That is my husband. He's been that same weight for almost 30 years. But he's all keto now, and for a minute there, they thought he went away. He dropped 20 pounds. He already only weighs 150, but then we put a little bit more on him. But he loves it. And I'm like, you can't have my diet. Like, that's not fair. And I'm over there struggling, and it just whoosh, whoosh right off of him. But he's an athlete in his spare time, and he works outside in Atlanta. And this guy is a fat-burning machine, and he has energy, and he has ADD to the nth degree, and I want you to know he can actually get across a room and remember why he started across the room. At mealtime, instead of being hangry, he's calm and composed. Honey, why don't you go first? I'm hangry. No, but he is not. So we've been married almost 30 years, and now I'm here. And I apologize, but since I'm telling you my story, I have a lot of photos. So here's kind of what I want you to do today, if you have an opportunity, is I want you, when I go, now here's a tip for you, that's the stuff you want to write down. Because you're not going to write down, I was born in 1957, I've been married 30 years, she says she's a trainer, this. But I'm going to leave you tips, little breadcrumbs all the way through this presentation today. So one of the first tips is don't throw any of your photos away. One of the biggest things a photo does, and I heard someone say it, oh wow, I don't have to tell you much when you see that and see me. It's doing a job, because seeing is often believing, and in what I do, limiting a lot of drama, there's no drama in this, other than what I was living through. So here's a tip for you. If you're thinking of small groups, if you're thinking of interfacing with others, save your photos and get a good before and after. It does a lot of talking for you. Okay, as I said, now I'm here. That was on the left about 2 months before I started keto. It's probably 100 degrees outside, but I could not handle being without a sweater on. My arms are never going to return to what they were, and that was a real problem. That was at an after-hours event on our property at the gym. And that is in the middle of half-marathon training. Here's another set of slides. There's Keith, he's at the top, my friend. And then this was actually the first day after the Low Carb conference last year. Had to hop a plane, get home, and go speak for the gym. So I'll be getting into all that. So, keto changes so much more than just weight. And I feel like I've really got my life back. And I want to share that with you guys today. So, one of the things I am is I'm pretty athletic. I'm very active. And this is me pretty much 4 mornings a week. I ride a bike. I'm very active. I love my bike. I love my bike time. I like it in the garage. We don't have to deal with traffic. And I got it in my craw to do a 100-mile bike ride in the fall. And in May, I did the first 100-mile bike ride. I did eat a low-carb approach diet before we did it, during it. Drank a lot of pickle juice. And then I recently did a second one on a completely empty stomach. So I rode a bicycle for 100 miles on a completely empty stomach. And I was just talking to the Dr. Ben. I said, I don't know what happened, but halfway through it, it was like nirvana. Not hungry, fully energized. My brain was super crisp. And when we were done, my husband was eating us out of house and home in the car, and I didn't eat any food still. It was magical. When I'm not on the bike, I'm actually in the pool. And I have now a new goal. I'm going to swim 5 miles before Christmas. That is a lot. That'll be 4 hours in the pool, just doing laps. Best thing you could ever buy, here's a tip, is a watch that does the counting. This is a special snorkel, so you don't have to turn your head. I'm at an age where turning my head 1,000 times is going to hurt. So I do everything to limit, really kind of, in a sense, wear and tear. The first time I went out in that, I want you to know that I did not have the little nose pincher on because I didn't know I was a nose breather until I sucked half the pool up. Went back and found one of those. I mean, people just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Why would you post that? Because I'm 61, I've got my life back, I've got my energy back. And I want everyone in my community to know that. So I swim. If I'm not on the bike, I'm in the pool. I am a spin instructor, and for 10 years I've been teaching a Tuesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. class. It's almost always full, not quite. And it is all these people my age. Now you're seeing some that look a little more in shape than a lot of them. But this is one of my passions, keeping people moving. One of the most important tips I can give you is do the things that are natural to you. Exercise is natural to me, motivating others is natural to me. So this was a perfect fit 10 years ago. Oh, I am a triathlete. I've done 13 triathlons, and this is a group of pastors at our church. They're the top tier, and all those women are scared to death to ride a bike. But if Coach Jess will take them, well, I'll try. So I have coached every one of those, and coming back from a weight loss with keto, I was able to actually not be in the car, not be on the sidelines watching them. I participated, and I beat one of them. Just one. They're all young. They're all just turning, 40 to 45. They're active. They've never done anything like this. They wanted to do it, but they needed that someone. Here's a tip for you. People need that someone. And you can easily almost walk right by it. Oh, I don't want to get involved. But boy, has that changed my life, to be involved with them. And I have 20 years experience in our county public schools. I have a children's motivational business. And I teach character ed through singing songs I've written and telling funny stories. And I've done it for 20 years. So if you can teach a kindergartner how to be good, and they do it, you can teach a bunch of keto people anything. So I also speak to adults. I go to businesses at times and share my story. And this past weekend, before Christy Sullivan came through Atlanta, and our team hosted a workshop with her, and we both spoke, and we had over 100 people. It is the biggest thing I've done, and I had the best time. And here I am speaking at something. I tend to get out front, right in front of you, get very engaging. It's just part of me being me. So now I want to share with you, this is who I am, and I want to share with you what I've done. And in a way, this is kind of scary because I don't sit around beeping my own horn, but you're about to get a beep beep. So in 2016, I wanted to help people. And some of you are gonna ask this question, what do you do? How did you start? Let me tell you how I started. I went on my Facebook basic page, the one that goes to all your friends. No group, just in my home page. And I said, hey, I'm looking to mentor 3 people who'd like to lose weight and improve their health and fitness in the next year. Within 2 minutes, a gal's like, I'm sure there's not enough room. You've already filled it. I'm like, not yet, but within that weekend, I had over 70 people who know me personally in the area. Some of my best friends. Could I do it? who wanted to do it. So I had to write up an application, and I had to sort out, how do I pick 3? Well, I ended up taking 8 people. Okay, let me give you fun. Find Your Food, that's the name of what I do. Find Your Food. That came as soon as I went out with these 3 people that became 8. I got the LLC incorporated, and I got my little business card, and I took these people on a journey for 1 entire year because I looked them over, and every one of them had at least 50 to 75 pounds of weight loss needed. So the first thing I could do was to help them immediately adjust their expectations. This will not all go away tomorrow or next week. So we're gonna walk for a year, but we'll make that manageable, and we'll only meet once a month. And you've got access to me. We'll make that manageable. We'll open a Facebook private group where you can all make friends and share recipes and talk about the things that are working. So that's how I began the journey I'm on right now. I also went out and I got some more education. I was Ellie, who I don't know where Ellie is. She just won a big stack of books. She's probably scared to death how we're going to get them home. But Ellie and I linked up together. She's a nurse and I am not. And we applied for and did the Real Meal Revolution. At that point, Noakes Foundation was in partnership with Real Meal. We became the first 2 American banding coaches. And everything I'm doing today comes from that season of learning the system of how to host a small group and tell your story and lead anecdotally. So in 2016, I did the group. I mentored 3, but actually I took 8. We started the group. I asked them to pay me. And this would probably be my most difficult moment. But people do not value what they don't pay for. And I made it very minimal, $25 a month. Anyone can do that. I'm of the belief, oh, make it so easy they can't help but push the button. And then other people are like, that's not enough, you're not even showing your self-value. And I'm like, look, I've never done this before. So I charged, and I charged if they cheated. They had to, honor system. You cheat, you call me. And I'm charging you $25. You should have heard the room. 3 cheats and you're out, only because you might not be ready and I don't want to drain your bank account. I had to release one girl very quickly after I collected $1,000 from her. She got to 4 cheats and I'm like, not now, you're not ready. Just go back and don't quit, don't stop, but you're not ready for this. And I just can't take your money. So I released her, very hard move for me. 2017, after doing this for an entire year, these people, most of them were in my community or in my church community. And the big thing I want you to know is as their weight dropped and their energy improved and their confidence came back, they started doing things within our church structure. Some of them started a new group. Some of them went on staff. One other climbed the ladder on the worship team. And the pastor wife came to me and she goes, I don't know what you've done, but these people who are eating your way, they've become so confident. Could I ask you to take 8 women on a year's journey, 10 months actually, and our women's movement will sponsor them, but we want them to have what you and these others have found. Would you do that for us? I said yes. So Find Your Food steps out, and once you get going, you don't go alone. So I'd like to introduce to you my team. At Find Your Food, I have a team of women, and they know how to do everything. And they do everything, and I don't. So I have learned my place in this scheme of things. I'm the public speaker, I'm the face, but here I've got 3 gals who are professional administrators who can make anything come together. Listen, these girls right here, they ran the whole 4-hour workshop with Christy Sullivan where we had over 100 people in our building. We rented a room, we had to hire lights and sound and all of this, And these are the gals who made it all happen. And I showed up and did my part, which is casting vision, sharing, and helping people with hope and help. Those are the things I carry. One of the things we've done at Find Your Food is we have become a network of opportunities. And this slide, I decided this would be a great place to pop this in. This is me casting my own vision for what I would love. If I could do anything, what would I do? And this is what I wanted to do in 2017. I wanted to create opportunity for others through groups, meetups, retreats, or resources. And what I found is I wanted to help these people with their food and their lives so that they could go out and then help other people. So I sat down one day and I put this together, and this became the template of the things I wanted to accomplish in the year 2017. Right about that time, I was beginning to gather some steam as having this unusual success with diet and exercise. And my boss said, I want you to create a support group at the gym. She named it C3 Nutrition. I don't think I would have gone that far. But we started C3 Nutrition, and every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we have a support group and community where you can bring your diet, and I'll get into that in a couple of minutes, and come in, and we're gonna show you all the things that everyone else uses and does that can be an assist with diet and exercise. One of the things we're super proud of is this year, we have partnered up with Dinner Plans, and one of our authors of Dinner Plans, Adele Height, is in the room. And it's this most brilliant book. And I know her co-author, Jenny, just a little bit. I came last year because Jenny told me, come, you need to come. And one of the things that I did is, I love this book because it doesn't say keto, really. And it really doesn't say low carb, though it's going to tell you the latest on fats, proteins, and careful carbs, as well as regular carbs. You know, a lot of people don't know two things. One, they don't know a vegetable is a carb, a lot of people. And two, a lot of people I know don't know that you don't catch diabetes. They think you catch it. It's a disease, right? You catch diseases, not this one. So, in my gym, I can't say certain things, but I can sure talk about the steps toward whole foods. And when I put that book out there, we've done an amazing book study with it. When I go to a business, I can't always say keto, low carb. I could, but I see eyes just shut down on me. So having this book has just kept me kind of the energizer and funny. I just go through a different door. The next thing I did in 2017 is the church again had come back. Can you run with these women? So we started She Said Yes. And She Said Yes is women who say yes to life, to health, and their futures. And it's done in a spiritual context in the church. And these are the women that went through it. And some of them are on my team now. We met with them every week. You can't see this one very good, but this is their big reveal on the night of the women's conference. And this group collectively lost over 450 pounds. There was a huge uptake of applications to be picked. We couldn't pick them all. And a team of pastors picked them. I said, I don't want any axe murderers or people who are like, cocaine addicts who are bumping down to food. And the pastoral team knew the applicants and they picked them. Because I just, please don't give me anything that I can't just cheerlead and help along. Because I'm not qualified to put anyone on a diet in the state of Georgia. I am not qualified to diagnose or treat. I do not have a psychology or counseling degree. But I can tell you my story. I can link you to credible information. And I'm pretty old now, so I pretty much can see a red flag rising, and I know where resources are, because I usually don't do anything where I don't have some form of a resource where I can turn and ask for help. And one of the things that Find Your Food is doing in 2018, because some of these women are not making the turn, they do have more food addiction type behaviors, so it would appear that we're trying to find some people locally who we could at least give a resource, put a name on a resource sheet and say, hey, these are some people that are trusted and could help you. This is one of the overflow groups, and this was the beginning of what is still alive. Every other Sunday morning, afternoon at 3:30, we have the Yes Group girls. And always between 5 and 20 are in that room, and they're not always the same ones. And the gal the black gal up front, she has hosted it. The black gal in the very back, we've now moved it to her home. We need more space. And they're a close-knit group. This is probably the backbone of most of the things I do. This group of people, run with it, help me. And this is one thing you might want to know. When you're in a small group, try to get a wingman. Try to get someone to go with you. Try to get someone you can immediately help carry the load. And raise them up. Help them help others, too. Because here's what I've noticed from seeing so many obese people, is somewhere down the road they checked out on life and they got into their food. We've all seen that, right? For the people who come because of obesity, which is mostly the people who find me, they're coming for weight loss. What did you do? I want it. When you say, hey, could we have this group at your house? Something clicks in them, and they get an opportunity to add value and often rehabilitate something inside of themselves. They're down on themselves, y'all. They can't get a diet past noon. Their self-confidence and esteem is shot. They don't want you to know it, but you can tell. Hey, could you help me? We're gonna do a coffee group. Could you come and be the person who sits with me? Could you be the one who arranges it with the coffee shop every week? People will knock themselves over to come help me. I figured that out when kindergartners, because remember I go into schools and I teach kindergartners, when they all try to carry my guitar. We'll all carry your guitar. Everyone wants to help. So I pull people in. This isn't a Jess show. How many people can I get involved so they're rehabilitating themselves? And when they add value, even if their food is off, and I never talk about their food, they start to rise up. There's a pride that comes back, the healthy kind. And I think there's a lot to that. We're down on it. We've lost our ability to keep our promises past breakfast half the time. And that's one of the beauties of the ketogenic way, is that we do get a lot of control because food gets so quiet. So remember, exercise, me, we're like this. So I want to show you a few things we've done there. I took a group of women to the top of a mountain. And Ellie was there because I needed strong women to help me get women over a few rocks they had to crawl. In this group, you can't see this, I want you to know there's two women. One who's never walked up a mountain in her life. She's still not speaking to me. And the other one is the gal in the front-ish, over by my husband in the red hat. That's Patty. Patty lives in Illinois, Indianapolis in Illinois. She works for the government. She can't lose weight. She found me on Facebook, became my friend. She's in the Find Your Food group. She's not really paying attention. She can't put all the dots together, but she wants to climb the mountain. So Patty got a hotel room down the street from me, loaded her car up with gas and stuff, and she came to Atlanta. Her husband laughed in her face and said she could never find her way out of a brown paper bag. What did she think she was doing going to Atlanta? She left scared. She had my phone number. All I said was, please don't come at rush hour. Sure enough, Patty arrived at rush hour. I can't even go into the Atlanta traffic situation and what she had to go through. But when she got into that room, she was like, Jess, I did it. I was scared the whole way. We met for dinner. She bear hugs me. She's huge, salt of the earth girl. I have done this. And you could see her set her shoulders. She was going to go home, a different woman. Climbing the mountain proved to be pretty darn hard for her. She was not exercising. She sweat the whole way up. We kept an eye on her, but look at that smile. She went to church with me the next day, sat in the little seat and cried, and then hugged me and said, I must go home now, and I'm changed. I didn't change her. I just opened a door for her to join me. The changes came from the steps she had to take. There's a tip for you. Changes usually come in the effort you put in. Okay, back to my girls. We recently did a 5K. Most of them don't know what a 5K is. I think they thought it was like a marathon. Really, they were scared. Oh Lord, they were out walking at 6 in the morning. They were just, and then it came the day and they were scared. They'd all signed up, it was free. They were scared, and all of a sudden they're all talking. They've all gotten this t-shirt. They don't even have event t-shirts because they don't move, but they have been moving. The 5K took no time at all because they were so busy talking to each other. It just flew by. We had to keep them on the right path. Turn left here, turn left here. We had spotters, go this way, go this way. These women, I've never seen so many selfies in my life. 80% of them are already signed up for a 5K in September. All of them, with the exception of maybe 2 who are really smart. I'm going back up Yonah. That's the mountain the last group went up. I'm taking them up in October. And now what I'm teaching them is you have to train. You have to prepare for success. You can't just assume you'll get up that morning and be able to go up this mountain. It's hard. You need to now begin to invest in your own strengthening program. Most of these women get up between 5 and 6 in the morning. The ones who live near each other, they go, and 3 mornings a week we exercise so that we can stimulate our fat and we can train. We can stimulate our fat metabolism and they can train. These are not women who've done much in this area. But here's a tip for you. Just lower that bar and more people will come over. I walk last, I hike last, and I bike last. My job is to make sure everyone gets home. It's not that I'm going to be out front and show off my super fitness powers, because I really don't have any. I'm usually last. But go ahead, y'all go. I'm back here just making sure no one runs away and goes home. Y'all are staying. Another thing that we have done, and I know one of the questions a lot of you will ask is, well, what do you do in a group? You know, I don't have any trouble finding things to talk about every other week because I've been in this 4 years and I am profoundly excited and impassioned and all of that. But other people might not quite know what to do. So I want to show you a few other things we've done because I don't sit still. We've done 2 book studies. The first book study we did was with Karen Thompson's Sugar Free. And I want you to see this. This was a great way for us to open up that more addictive side of things. Question or statement. Karen Thomas asks the question, is morbid obesity in some people really unrecognized sugar addiction? Well, we asked that question. And then I, as a leader, sit back really quietly. Oh my. Sit back really quietly and let them dialogue and find their way. Because we don't point fingers in our group. There's a tidbit for you. So here we are. We called Karen, or we Facebooked her, and she started to cry. And she actually wanted, she says, oh, no one's done this before. Would you be interested in doing one worldwide? I said, no. No. Because we could just do a Facebook group and you could lead them all and we just open it to the whole world. I was like, thank you. No. But it's a great way to get people going and let them move through the harder things at their own pace. Because you want to retain people. You want people in community. You don't want to run them out by calling them all addicts. It's just not real, it's not a happy moment. We've got the dinner plan book. And I have to tell you, tonight I'm getting on a red eye. And I'm flying home because tomorrow at noon I'm in our hospital, Adele. And we're going 3 locations this year. with this book. So 3 days a week I will be doing a book study. And the hospital associates are all welcome to come. It's during a Biggest Loser type event where they're really focusing for the next 2 months on weight loss and health and changing their biomarkers. They've all had them tested. They can all get discounts and da-da-da-da-da. And this was their choice this year. Let's run with this book. So here's the deal. It's going to be so exciting. Here's the deal. For the people who come, we're going to do the book study and we're going to talk every week. But at week 6 out of 7, those who have come every time, the hospital is buying them a book. Isn't that cool? And I know all the registered dietitians will be on the front row the first week to check this all out, because that's how it rolls. Here's another option for you that we've used, Facebook Live. So on the front row is my dear friend Maureen, and Maureen and I decided we would go Facebook Live. And the day we went Facebook Live, I'm not even sure what. Maureen says, you know, you can go interview style, side by side, and the next thing you know, we were on Facebook Live, side by side. But do you know what that did? That opened a brand new door for us. Why don't we interview people? So we started Everyday Success, together inspiring, and we've actually added informing others. So Everyday Success is a Facebook page you can go to Saturday morning, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we have now moved over to pre-recording our interviews because of the stability that Zoom gives us. If you don't know about Zoom, it's a great option, Maureen's option. And it kind of all started with Maureen saying, I want you to interview Gary Taubes. And I said, I don't want to. Not at all. That would just scare me to death. But I would love to talk to the girl down the road who changed her complete life and dropped 50 pounds and is thriving. So actually, and then Maureen's like, well, we should get Dr. Westman on the line. Oh, the closest thing to a doctor is I had a 1-hour chat with Brian Lenski last year, and that took all my confidence. Really, you're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, oh my God, he's a doctor, just in a t-shirt. On his day off, he's talking to me. Maureen doesn't have a problem with talking to doctors, lawyers, to scientists. She's very inquisitive. I want to know what happened. I want to hear the inspiration. She loves the information. So together, we back and forth every week. We did a great interview yesterday morning with Doug Reynolds. It should be up in this next week or the week after. We just recently did Christy Sullivan when she was in New York City. Who else is a big one? We've had back 3 or 4 times.
Amy Berger.
Amy Berger, lots of good stuff there.
And we've had Kendra Holly.
Kendra Holly.
Matt and Mega from Keto Connect.
Matt and Mega from Keto Connect. And this is, she goes after it. I've got Betty, Judy, Sam. These are 2 of my original 2016 mentor group, bottom right, Rhonda, bottom left, and John. Together, the 2 of them could go into business. They have not turned back. They have totally changed their lives. Rhonda came to me in 2017 and said, girlfriend, now that we're not coaching anymore, I need a girlfriend. She goes, I want to get strong, I want to do fitness. And she's a girly girl who does the walking. I'm like, well, you might need to change something up. And she just couldn't get it going. And she was bored and she didn't like it. And then one day she calls and she says, how about CrossFit? I go, whoa, that'll be interesting. You don't do anything over here and you're gonna go there. I want you to know that Rhonda Carter is doing CrossFit 5 days a week, and she just entered her first lifting contest. John has blown up the corporate ladder with 3 promotions in this last year alone because the energy he has and the confidence that has come back to him in sales. John used to tell me, he'd text me, well, my sales manager just brought in a dozen donuts. And then he'd text back a half an hour, wow, I'm the only one working. And I thought, these corporate dudes, the sales, they want to make, come on, I'll get you donuts. And they're snowing their people. And they don't know why no one's productive at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or after bagels and donuts and biscuits in the morning. But we're gonna treat you. I think, man, if they ever figure that out. Another thing we've done is we have gone to Facebook Live on Monday nights. We did a Monday night live for a season, and we would just talk about, well, you and another gal did a book study, and that brought up a lot, and then we would hop up there and just share. And people knew at 7 o'clock on Monday, we would pick a response from the crowd and chat about it. That lasted for a season. Here's a tip for you. Be seasonal. Whatever you try, give it a timeline. For the next month, on Monday nights at 7 o'clock, we will be discussing various topics in the ketogenic lifestyle. For the next 2 months, we will be starting a keto group. For the next 6 months, I've always got a time frame. Because some things take a lot of traction, some things aren't really good. You've got one person, how long do you keep showing up for one person? That's a lot of wear and tear if you're someone like me. So I always start with the end in mind. I've always got a beginning and an end. And I offer things that I do in sections of time. 1 month, 2 months, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, every Monday night for the next 2 months. So we did that for a while. That was a lot of fun. Then I started online support groups. I had a Monday morning 6 a.m. in Canada. I had a Wednesday morning 6 a.m. in another Providence in Canada. And I had a Wednesday night with girls all over the United States. That went really well. I have the Wednesday night group. They have shifted from just watching to engaging with one another. And they are all exercising. And it's just lit this group on fire. And one of the people in the group, his name is Judy. And I want you to know that Judy's 57 years old. She's been doing keto, I'm sort of doing keto. And she's always on the fringe listening, not offering very much information, nor commenting. And I said, listen, we need to all start moving. So we decided to put exercise in our life intentionally after walking together for 6 months. As far as walking together as in meeting. And I said, I want everyone to get up at least 3 mornings a week, and after a glass of water or maybe a cup of coffee, go move. Move. And I got to this one and I said, what's in your basement? She says, a rower. Move. Go 15 minutes on your rower. See what happens. I got to Judy, and Judy's in Baltimore. She goes, I'm really afraid to tell you what's in my basement. Well, it turns out it's like a multi-million-dollar facility. And her husband has everything. I was like, can I come up? Can I visit? I said, Judy, I want you to just get on the elliptical for 5 minutes. What? Anyone could do that. Exactly. So this next week, I want you to go downstairs, and for 5 minutes, I want you to get on the elliptical. But I've got a treadmill. Yeah, but you walk everywhere, you don't drive, so try the elliptical. Okay, I'll do it because it's you, Jess. Okay, don't tell anyone what you're doing. You don't need the feedback. What? That's not gonna do any good. So the next week, did you do it? Yes, I did it. I went downstairs 3 times for 5 minutes, and then you can better believe it, I got off that thing. Great. All right, everybody, we're going back for a second week. Repeat. Repeat it. I brought the bar down. Judy climbs over. The other 3 climb over. One gal is almost housebound, and she sits in her chair and stands with a walker in front of her so there's no chance of falling. And she does what I would call a little modified squat, but we didn't leave her out because she really can't do a lot. She's severely obese, got a lot of issues, but she can stand up and be a part of this group. So we go through 3 weeks at 5 minutes, and the next week we meet. Judy is like all over the page. Before I even say hello, Judy's raising her hand. She has something to say. What's up? I've gone 10 minutes. 10 minutes 3 times. I didn't want to tell you till I did it. 10 minutes 3 times. Y'all, it's been 4 months. Judy goes 20 to 30 minutes on the elliptical at the minimum 3 days a week. They have traveled and vacationed. She doesn't always have her food all the way together. We're working on that. But I want you to know she takes walks, she's ridden bikes, she's gone swimming, she's not sitting on the couch. And it was the thing that really made everything else click. People usually buy the exercise or they buy the diet, but most people can't do both at once. Never encourage that. But if they can get one going, it will trickle into the others. Dinner parties. We've done 2 dinner parties. Come together casually over food, get the keto cooks cooking, and bring your girlfriends or friends, and let's enjoy each other. This was our first one. We did it in the offices at the church. I needed a long table, and it was a lot of fun, and everyone was so relaxed. And we just had some great music and good food. They all learned they could cook more things than they thought. Retreats. I had a client. She's a full-time world traveling missionary. Her name is Carol. She lives in North Georgia. And she came down and shared her story one day, and she said, "Girlfriend, I just know there's something you and I are supposed to do together." I'm thinking, I'm not going on a missionary trip, so don't. She shares with how she takes women on pilgrimages. I start listening. Well, I thought they went like somewhere else. And she gets them up in the morning and she gives them a thought for the day, and then they take these very long walks. They've been on the San Diego Trail, the Santiago. They've done all these things all over Greece on many, many islands, and they walk all day long, pondering the words that she's given them. She says, "It's just a day at a time, and we just doing a one-day thing." And as soon as she said that, something went off in my heart, and I said, "Oh my gosh, what amazing idea. Take people away for one day, they can get home, and give them some time, put a few things out there for them to consider, and let them work on themselves." One day away. 3, I have one next month, my fourth this year. One day away. The first one was living on purpose. I can't remember what the second one was. The last one was being committed to truth. You know, you look down and this food's working and it's changing everything. Pay attention to it and embrace it. That's the truth for you. If one size does not fit all and you put the shoe on that fits, own it, love it, take care of it. It'll change your life. That's what this one was about. What is the truth for you? This is what it looks like. We hang out and we have table leaders, a gal who's been walking with me. They all decorate their own table the way they want. And we have a topic and a walk, some time alone. And Carol's boss lets me go out there, huge lodge. And they let me go out there free anytime I want, if they're available. So I've had a wonderful opportunity. The people who come to the retreat fly in or drive in. Maureen's flown in 3 times, I think. So when someone comes from far away, I like to spend time and make it worth their money. So we started the gathering, helping you help others. And here's an example of our last gathering. We all got together. There's Maureen. And we talked about how exercise has impacted our lives. And another fella in the room, Ken, is in the back. Ken came all the way down from the Virginia area. He even spoke at our retreat, showed his pants and how much he's lost and what he's learned. But at the gathering, we talked about using exercise to stimulate fat burning. It was kind of a higher level. This is what I did and this is what's happened. It wasn't for the everyday attendee. This is where we could really get into it a little deeper with people who were committed. And I love that day. I enjoy it. Office luncheons, I go in quickly talking about my story. I always lead with my story, my photos. I tell people this is what I did. When I'm in an office, I may say I moved to Whole Foods. I often say I removed controlling foods and I've got my control back to build self-control. So this was recently at a office. It was a luncheon that the wellness committee put on, and they asked me to come share. And this is a tip. I open with something I think we all want, so I get their attention. And you know, we all do want to eat clean. We all want to, and we all want to really feel better. And we want to be stronger. So that's how I opened it. And I had their attention because those were things that they're across the board meaningful. All right, so this last section, now that you see I've been really busy, and I have really been busy. It's like going to the store and trying on different outfits and finding the one that works best for me and the team that walk with me. So that's what I've been doing. And these are some things that I think everyone who wants to interface as a grassroots, non-professional person who has a heart to help, these are a few things that might help you. Number one, know yourself, know your story. You've got a story. This would be if you're really interested, what you want to do is put it together. Make it short. Can you tell it to one group or another group? Can you take low carb out and call it something else? What would you call it? Can you put it in and stand there and call it low carb or a ketogenic approach? Can you tell people what a ketogenic approach is? So you need to know some of the science. That's really important. If people are like, what, huh? Where will you send them? Oh, are we lucky? DietDoctor.com. Their whole objective and vision is to make it simple. And I'm not super complicated. So it's on my Facebook group. It's immediately Diet Doctor, just go there. Will I have conversation about it? Yes. I can tell my story in this room and say keto 100 times. I can stand in front of registered dietitians at the hospital, which I did last year unknowingly, and tell them my story and never say low carb, Atkins, or keto. But I talk about controlling food and how I removed it. Oh my gosh, and I just felt so much better, and everything was clicking, and I wasn't hungry. And people are very drawn to those things because we're all very tired. We're almost always hungry. And we don't feel so great about things or ourselves. So lead through your own story. The number one reason is we're not often qualified to do much else. And it's almost, people can't refute it. You can't argue with me about what's happened to me and all the things I've done. I've showed you the photos. I didn't make it up. You just can nod your head, but you can't really argue with me. What would you promise to do or offer a group? Big question. And I'm going to get into that in a second. Go natural. Be yourself. Do things. I take people up mountains because I like to climb them. You know? I come from a huge church culture that to reach the everyday person, we've had to put in place small groups so that people can get with real people who couldn't wait for you to come over because they've got that hospitality thing on them. Come on over, let's just have a... That's not me either. I'll go to your house, but you're not really coming to mine because I'm not that hospitable. I just want to go home. But this, I will tell you, this passion for helping others, I am the first one to go home. I'm an introvert. I'm the first one upstairs when there's a breakout. When the session ends, I'm already on floor 4, and I'm fast approaching 12. I like you all. You're all wonderful people. I am so passionate to be here and share this with you, and I can even talk to you one-on-one. But as soon as you turn your back, I'm tired and I'm ready to go upstairs. But this whole thing has brought everything to life. But you're not going to see a small group in my home. That's not me. I'll come to yours, I'll talk at yours, and I'll help you so you can talk at yours, and you can do all the talking. But what's the problem you can address? I want to tell you a little bit more about that. What problem could you help be a part of the solution? It says cocktail party, and I can't remember why. All right. So, cocktail party. There's an author out there, his name is Donald Miller, and Donald Miller is a marketer. And there are a ton of free marketing things out there for you to realize how to market yourself. Do you guys have to leave? Okay. All right. So Donald says when you're at a cocktail party and someone says, well, what do you do? Who in this room would go, well, it's complicated? He says, don't do that. He says, tell them the problem, the solution, and the reward. So this is what I did. You know, the problem is we're confused. We isolate, and we're afraid we are out of control with food. I mean, those were my problems. So let me break it down. The problem is we isolate in our eating and dieting. The solution is community that cares. The problem is we're confused. We're so confused about what to eat. The solution is one voice and one coach. And the problem is we're afraid we're out of control. Well, I use the ketogenic diet. Man, the control I got back is amazing. I was able to lose 85 pounds in 10 months, and it's such good food, I can stay on it. Stating the problem, the solution, and the reward. Could you do that? That's always good to have at the tip of your tongue. I have a little getting started guide. I only have 8 left with me. They're $7. I'd be glad to sell you one. I just want you to know it's out there. My website also has them. What problems do you want to be a part of the solution? What problems are you working on in your life that are relatable all across the board? If you wanted to start a group, I would say there's some things you really need to do. One is you need to be walking your talk, like really, really well. I've put 3 people over the last 10 months in a group and made them leaders, and they were not ready. And they went back to food and disappeared on me. I've learned, they've learned, and I think the hardest thing in my heart is one of them right now won't speak to me, and I just feel really bad about that. Walking your walk and your talk. You can't do this kind of thing if you're doing one thing and saying one thing and doing another. People are way past that in this world. Start small. I started with a small group of people. I took them on a long time period of 1 year. The people that got involved knew what was expected, but it was a small group of people. Have a wingman. Mine just left the room. I don't know where she went. With the things online, Marina's my wingman, and Ellie just left. She won all those books. I know she's in just a fearful thing of how we're getting those books back to Atlanta. But Ellie comes to my meetings, and she's back there just helping me. Utilize technology. There's so many things we can do for free and automate, and man, does it make a difference. And the last thing I'd like to say is have fun. Enjoy people, be honest and real with them, tell them your truth. And I would love to take some questions. Where you can find me, just put that up there, findyourfood.org. I'm on Facebook, Find Your Food Group. I'm on Instagram, Find Your Food. We are there too. My email is jess@findyourfood. I have an email list, but you have to come and sign up with me, and I will make sure no one gets that list. They've just changed all the privacy laws. I'm not going to assume if someone signs up they want on my Monday morning motivational. And that's it, but how can I answer any questions or thoughts, any comments? Yes, ma'am?
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your information with us.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm out of Phoenix. I'm a nutrition student at ASU,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm going underground as a low-carb, high-fat student because I have to toe the low-fat line in order to get the grades, pass my exams, and so forth. But I'm also really very active in our community. So people know me as Keto Girl.
Wow.
So I have so many people, 20, 40 people reaching out to me, and I cook only keto at home. And I share my food with neighbors and friends and everybody else. So they want me to establish a group hosting people who want to cook this way, who want to lose weight, who want to improve their metabolic markers. But I feel like I don't have a guidebook.
Well,
And I don't know how to set the ground rules. Because I would love to take people on this journey, as I complete my nutrition studies at ASU. I would like for them to be a part of this movement. And I feel funny about even charging people, because everything I do, I make ice cream and delicious food, and I give everything away for free.
Wow.
and I don't know how to, I hate to use the word capitalize on this, but my time is valuable, and like you said, if you want to create this movement, be a part of it, make people see the value in this, then you have to somehow turn it into something that's more than just a Facebook kind of clip or something. So I don't know where to begin.
Well, I have a few ideas. First off, if you don't have a kitchen that you feel comfortable having people in, like 3 years ago, Christy Sullivan wanted to come cook in my kitchen, and I said no. So I found a friend who had a kitchen and was so welcoming to have others in because she had the hospitality thing. And so I would say find a kitchen that you would feel comfortable in. Maybe get a couple friends and say, let's do a cooking thing together. Practice on a couple of your friends, or pick someone you feel that this would really help. It would be a wonderful investment into their journey. Christy did come, and we did invite 10 women to cook, but they were only people that I was sure were keto and would really value the time, and it would improve their lives. And Maureen was one, and Ellie was one. So find a place that you can cook comfortably, find something that's relatively easy to cook, and practice and see if it fits you. Does this outfit fit? And you may walk away like, that was a nightmare. There's a million keto chefs, cooks. Everyone's got a cookbook. Maybe go to Costco and plumb through some of them. They're all over the place. Find something that's not something that anyone could maybe replicate. Make it easy. Pull the bar down and you climb over it and see if it fits. That would be the first thing I would do with the cooking, because it's social and it's fun and it's a light touch. And then I have a feeling that the next steps would click for you. No or yes, but this time I'm going to do it this. And then maybe you put it out and do it once or twice a month. You have a night, we're going to, and everyone gets used to you. Maybe make a mental commitment. All right, I'm going to try this for 3 months. Twice a month, and try different things and see if there's a fit and a connection. You haven't bit off more than you can chew. You're not committed for the next 5 years. You're obviously very busy, but have a passion to get involved. You'll probably have fun, and you'll begin to help people around you in a social way with a light touch. That would be my suggestion. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, anyone else? Yes, sir.
This trip has been I hope, my last trip before I let the public know about my life change to keto, as from not a personal standpoint, but also a career. I left 22 years of the financial service industry to focus my life on keto.
Wow.
All right, and to educate. And I started with my one brother, and then next, my two brothers were resistant to anything that I've done. They're coming on, and then I want to grab a few friends before, and then find out how to educate them, practice on them before I let the public know what I'm doing. But with that being said, you mentioned the cheats. I mean, that was one. I mean, like 3 cheats. What did you consider a cheat? That's one question, and I'm going to please answer that first. And, answer that.
What was a cheat? Anything. I use Dr. Westman's little red book that's no longer on the market. And I just put it in their hands and say, just follow this. Read it from cover to cover, go back to it, refer to it, but please stay in this for 30 days. And anything outside of that is a cheat. And before we ever began, we talked it all out, we defined it. So going to the local Mexican restaurant and having a full-fledged margarita and chips is a cheat.
Got it. All right, so I didn't know if you had specific rules or just pulling up that.
And then when that person calls and I'm like, so that's a cheat. Yeah, I thought maybe, what part of that was a cheat? I'm like, what part of it wasn't? and the corn chips, oh yeah, corn. And the alcohol with the sugar mixed in, oh yeah. Okay, I'm sending $25. Now that is very hard for me. But that girl recognized right then and there that she wasn't paying attention to what she was doing. She wasn't she never did that again.
So every time they cheat, they send you $25.
Yeah, but they can only do 3 times.
Wow.
Because then they gotta go. That was the old, I've never replicated that after the first year. But I felt like I needed some controlling things in there because I didn't know what I was really doing.
Well, I was gonna make an investment with just 3 or 4 people and buy them the keto mojos. I was gonna help them, buy them, hook them up with the website that I wanted to track everything, just be my test studies. right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but there's going to be a result if you don't follow this enough. I'm trying to be able to have controls. The last thing would be.
Can I make a comment about the keto mojos? To me, that's like almost advanced stuff that a lot of people don't even need to be near it. It'll confuse them before it will make sense to them. And I would hold out on that one as a later, maybe a group that gets, let's say you start this and your test subjects get making some traction.
Yeah.
I would actually way back. I'd point it out to them more than give it to them. Again, they're not gonna know. It's like giving them a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is so cool. What a nice color. And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
People who can't appreciate a Ferrari unless they're driving. And they may not even ever want a Ferrari. They may want an F-150, and you've just given them something so amazing. But it's amazing to you because you've utilized it as a tool that brought maybe more awareness and showed you so much about yourself. Most people in the beginning do not want to know anything about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me to weigh my food or myself. Like, stay away and no photos. No photos. That's the biggest problem I have. Let's just take a photo. You can have it. I don't want it. But I want you to be able to look back when you don't think anything has happened and you pop that up, oh my Lord, so much has happened. That helps them through the whatever day they have woken up and nothing else is working. They see the change. But boy, getting people to do photographs kills them.
An hour ago, my brother left. He was in a hotel, hang out with me, and I said, it's about to start. I said, take a picture of yourself. You don't have to send it to me. Right?
That's
and
it. You don't have to show me.
I'm
Exactly.
Like, you want to check your glucose? And he says, no.
Yeah. You don't have to show me.
So,
yeah, you're potentially dealing, I'm just really, my whole thing is how can I lower the bar and get you over it?
yeah.
And that's what I've learned in personal training. You just can't get them all running a wind sprints the first week they come to the gym. They will not come back, some of them. You know, it's a very rare person that says bring it to a trainer. And they haven't been in a gym. You have to win them over until they're like, come on, give it, come on, I'm ready. How many, what do you, and they start to ramp up because they're seeing and feeling so much better and have more success. And so what is this and what is that and what is this? And you can start to guide them by sending them to credible websites that explain these things. We've heard over and over and over, eat when you're hungry, stop when at satiety. You don't need to measure all these things. Even though I have a keto mojo, it's not, I came upon that last year. I'd already lost all my weight.
Yeah.
So lower that bar, make it easy. Don't put too much on out of your pocket until you find the people that you can really invest in. Because most people are going to do this for 5 minutes. And then they're, peace out, love you. That was like really hard, by the way, mistake. Gotcha.